Welcome to Bealtaine Cottage, the home of goddess permaculture. These are some photographs of Bealtaine Cottage at the very beginning of what's become known as the Bealtaine Project. And this is about full restoration of Mother Earth and caretaking of the regeneration. Well, I know that many of you are thinking about the pond during this drought, and of course for me, that's my main consideration. Because people can get by on very little water. You know, it's not a big deal when you know that there's rainfall coming. And this being Ireland, there is of course a very strong possibility of rain. Although not just at the moment, and not for the next 5 or 6 days. So I'm just going to walk you down here to the pond so you can see for yourself that the tadpoles are doing well. Of course, as usual, you know I have to stop here and there on the way down because there's just so much to see. At this time of the year, everything's opening up and it's rather gorgeous. Now, on the personal side, I have a little bit of a sore throat this morning. But I don't have a high temperature or anything like that. But I think the old sore throat is, well, it's usually just what's happening, you know, the change of seasons. Because, of course, it has been very hot over the past few weeks, and getting hotter. There was some serious fires on Slieve and Erin yesterday. I think though it's mostly that monoculture Sitka spruce forest that gets very, very dry, and of course the forest floor, because it's monoculture Sitka spruce, is covered with pine needles that are dry, that are infused with oil, and that can spark up a fire. A fire can be sparked up and then very, very easily. So the fact that Slieve and Erin is burning is due to man's greed and incompetence and stupidity and everything that goes along with what's made this world into such a crazy place. Not Mother Earth though. Now, here we go. What I'm really, really happy about and pleased about is the engineering work that I carried out here back in, when was it? You'll have to remind me. Was it January? Was it the beginning of the year or the end of last year? It has saved the pond. It has literally saved the pond, because during previous droughts this pond would go so low because of the leaks that were over there, that it would definitely at this time of year, this early on, have seriously damaged the life of all these emerging frogs, all these little tadpoles. And you can see now, you can see them down there, they're all over the pond. Even the little birthing pool up here has kept intact, and you can see all the life in there. That's more important than having water in the cottage, because without this life here in this pond, there'd be no point in having a cottage. We are utterly dependent on the life that we see as being below us. But remember, if you are in mid-air, what is below you, what is directly below you, is a matter of life and death for you. So we have to look at things differently in terms of what we see as being below us. What is below us sustains us. And there's still a tiny little flow on this. Look. And a lot of the tadpoles have moved on down through the various levels in the stream. You can just see them over there. They're not moving there at the moment, they're just very still, as is their wont. So you won't hear any complaints from me about lack of water at the cottage. And especially when there's spring wells all over the place that I can go to with my empty containers and fill them with spring water. I will not be taking any of this water here up to the cottage for the polytunnel. I will actually go to the well and collect the water for the polytunnel. This, as far as I'm concerned, this is the sacred bedrock of my own life. Protecting this protects me. So there we go. I'm just so happy to see this. You know, to see the sun reflecting off this water, because you know yourself, if you've been a subscriber of Bealtaine Cottage, you know these past years, you know how this pond has looked in previous droughts. It's been devastated, you know, and it hasn't been devastated because of the drought. It's been devastated because the pond was leaking. And the simplicity of this is that the pond was leaking. I discovered a way of re-engineering it to come away from the leak. And that little bit of engineering work has now saved it. I mean, couldn't we apply that simplistic way of fixing things to all manner of problems in the world? So I'm going back up to the cottage now to collect my post to take over to Bealtaine, get the post sorted out. There are some countries that have banned post, and I know that Australia and New Zealand, I think Norway, I think Canada as well. Mari over at the post office keeps me informed anyway, keeps me updated. And I in turn keep you informed, so if you do order something, I can let you know pretty quickly, you know, what's happening with it. And so far your response has been very uplifting for me, because I've had a few people who've ordered from Australia, and when I have contacted them, I mean, I contacted Greg this morning, who ordered quite a lot of stuff, you know, and I said, look, I can't post this out because Australia's not accepting it, the post from Ireland at the moment. And I said, that's fine, you know, just hold on to it until the ban is lifted. It won't be too long, I'm sure. And on that day that the ban's lifted, that post will be posted, because it's sitting there in my little office, okay, ready to go. I'm very, very grateful that the post has still been accepted in the United States and in the UK and in many of the countries across Europe. I'm very grateful for that, because there seems to be no sense at all in banning the post. You know, just it seems to be nonsensical, really. And it's sort of ironic as well, you know, that at the moment the one corporation that's doing really well is Amazon, and they're posting hither and thither. You know, that's interesting, isn't it? The earth down here is really lovely and damp. Look. It's really lovely and damp because, of course, all the leaves are coming out in the trees and it's holding that moisture in. By hard pruning the apple trees, it's opened up so much light, and the trees seem to be prospering so well now with this wonderful abundance of apple blossom. It really does lift my soul and my spirits to see this, because I was so wary of pruning, you know. I'd never really hard pruned apple trees before. It seems to have paid off. Here's another apple tree, and of course I don't have to worry about the drought affecting the apple trees or any of these older trees, because the roots have gone down so deep that they have a wonderful resilience now. But the blossom is just, I mean, it hasn't even opened up yet, and look at it. Isn't that so wonderful? Just beautiful and amazing. And this is my little ornamental apple tree, which is part of the Lunacy garden. And again, it's just going to burst open soon, and it's just incredible. It's just incredible. It actually makes me feel so emotional to see it. It's wonderful. And the wonderful black currants. All my little sycamores. All Bealtaine Cottage books are printed here in Ireland, not offshored or uploaded to Amazon or any other corporation. They're printed in Ireland and they're posted from Ireland. And I do all the work here myself. This is best practice permaculture. This is not being a hypocrite and saying I practice permaculture and then have my books printed and delivered by Amazon. It's truly local, 100%.